Coach Devin here. This is my open letter to Stephen McNeil. Stevie, paying attention? Okay. I'm going to give you some hints about A, what it's like to own a business. I know you owned one, but I think you need a refresher course. And B, I'm going to talk to you about leadership, Steve. I'm going to talk to you about how leadership works, so maybe you can get it in your head and figure out what the hell you're doing every day for the last almost 70 days since COVID shut down this province. Now, number one, let's talk about business. Steve, you owned a small appliance repair shop for 18 years. Good for you. That means you understand where I'm coming from and every other business owner, because you did it. You get it. My question is, you can't be dumb enough to think that that rent deferral program will work because you've been me. You've been every other small business. So what the hell are you doing with that? What was the point of a rent deferral program? It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know it and I know it. Everybody knows it. Hey, don't pay rent now, pay it later. What? That's like one of those cash stops where like, give us 25% of your money till payday. It's like a payday store. That's what it is. Everybody knows those are ripoffs, but you think that's a good idea and that's a good business model. No, you don't. What happens, Steve, is somebody in the landlord industry, community, board, whatever, association got to you and said, Steve, you got to take care of us. We need to be taken care of. Everybody else, screw them. We need to make sure we have money because, Steve, we pay you taxes, Steve. And you went, oh, okay, I'll take care of them and I'll take care of no one else. Just make sure those landlords are taken care of. And you put millions of dollars to one side to ensure that happened. The problem is, Steve, you obviously don't understand business very well. If a landlord pays taxes, where do you think they get the money? The money comes from the small business, Steve. I pay it and all the other small businesses pay it. If we all close, the landlords can't pay it. So why would you prop up somebody who's almost a middleman? It makes absolutely no sense. And you stuck with it. You won't back down from it. You think it's this great, super smart idea. It's not, Steve. It's a dumb idea. It's time to step back and go, you know what? Bad call on my part. Didn't work. But you won't because you're being too stubborn. Which leads me to my second point. Let's talk about leadership. Number one, when you make a mistake and you're a leader, you stand up and go, screw that one up. That's how leadership works. It's just the way it goes. Now, you didn't want to be a small appliance repairman forever. That's cool. Listen, you decided you had bigger goals and you decided you wanted to be a MLA. And then you moved on from being an MLA to being the leader. Good for you. Congratulations. In fact, I don't actually dislike you at all. Hey, I voted for you once. I'm not a negative guy about you. I am a big fan of fiscally responsible and socially progressive. That's who I am as a person. Somebody doesn't like it, I really don't care. But I don't think we should just pour money out the door. I think we should be reasonable. At the same time, I think women should be paid as much as men. Of course, gays should be allowed to be married. Yes, we should have, transgendered bathrooms if we can. All those things. I'm a believer in those things. And at the time, I really thought you were too, because you seemed like it. But now you've taken a totally different tack. So I'll give you a little bit of information on me, Steve. I own several gyms in Halifax. Actually, I own two in Halifax, one in Dartmouth, and one out in East Hants. And mid-March, I got shut down. I understood it. Was it frustrating? 100%. Was I annoyed as hell? Yes. Super pissed. But I also understood the thinking behind it, and I thought, you know what? I don't want anybody to die. I was fairly confident that I wouldn't die if I got COVID, but my dad is older, my fiance's parents are old. I don't want anybody dying. That's terrible. That would be awful. I don't want what happened in New York. So I was behind you. I'm like, yes, let's shut. And then down the road, you started with the Stay the Blazes Home. Okay, the Stay the Blazes Home, the problem with that is that's just a catchphrase that you put up there because you want to get reelected. And it was horribly, horribly obvious because your own government policy wasn't Stay the Blazes Home. It wasn't. You know it wasn't. I know it wasn't. You just wanted a catchphrase. And you know what? Congratulations. It worked. It actually is kind of catchy. I actually thought, you know what? I thought it was stupid because it doesn't back up what your government was saying or what Dr. Strang was saying, but what the heck? Then you said something that really put me off. You're talking about essential workers one day in one of your press conferences. You said, I think it's great, those essential workers, they're going to work every day. And for those that have kids, You know what? They have neighbors that are taking care of their kids, and good for them. Good for those neighbors to step up. It was right after Dr. Strang said, if you're divorced, one parent should take the kids the entire time, the other person should get it. So I went, wait a second, Steve, you're a little out of touch there. You missed something. Something's missing. What's wrong? Strang said one thing, you're going the other way. That doesn't make sense. But, again, gave you a bit of a pass because I thought maybe you weren't paying attention. You're in your own head, looking around, thinking, what's going on here? And you were trying to say something positive, so I thought, okay, great. But time has gone on, Steve, and that's why everybody's frustrated. Every other province in Canada, every state in the US, they have a plan to reopen. Look, I'm not saying we have to reopen right now today. I'm not one of those crazy people in the US screaming, give me my rights back. That's stupid. I get we have to walk slow with the slowest people, and we have to take care of the people that need to be taken care of. Only makes sense. The problem is, you've had almost 70 days, Steve, almost 70 days to come up with a plan, and you haven't done it yet. What are you doing? You talked about rolling out this phased plan. You kind of put it out there and teased it to the Chamber of Commerce, and then somebody leaked part of it, and it turned out, hey, you were sending the kids back to school, and then you went, no, we're not sending the kids back. It's okay. Kids don't have to go back. Let's cancel the school year. Okay. Kind of wishy-washy, not really being a leader, but whatever. But then after you came out the phase plan, then you waited a week or two, and then you rolled out and said, no, we're going to open it all at once. Okay. How? What are the restrictions? How's this working? Nothing. It's like crickets. All I hear is crickets. Steve, dude, I'm going to give you a couple little points on leadership. I work for myself. I have a number of staff. I like working for myself because I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm just not that guy. I'm not good at it. I used to work at New Bodies back before. That dates me a little bit because they were Good Life Fitness before. They're Good Life Fitness now, but they were New Bodies before. I didn't like people looking over my shoulder. I like to make my own decisions. I thought, I'm smarter than these guys. Opened my own gym. Turned out some ways I wasn't smarter than them. Some ways I was. It depends. It's a crapshoot. But the thing about leadership is you have to be willing to make a decision and stick with it. And if it's the wrong decision, you go, shoot, I screwed that one up, but we're going to go forward and let's change course. But as a leader, you have to be willing to make decisions. Steve, you got to make a decision. For me in business, I have to make decisions every day. You're a leader of the province, little bigger than my little gym. You got bigger bills to pay, more staff underneath you, but it's still, leadership comes from the top, Steve. That's where leadership comes from. Leadership doesn't come from, maybe I'm going to make a decision on that, perhaps. I don't know. What do y'all think? Maybe yes, maybe no. Back it off. Come forward. What are we going to do? Steve, make a decision. Tell us what we're doing. I don't even need dates, Steve. Just give us some ideas on what your plan is. And unfortunately, you can't seem to do it. And that is a lack of leadership. That is a lack of self-confidence because leaders make decisions. They just go out there and they make a decision. They go, you know what? I have all the facts. I'm going to make the best decision I can because this is how this works. That's what you need to do. So make some decisions. Steve, you chose to be the leader of the province. I'm not the leader of the province. Didn't run, not interested. But you know what? If I was the leader of the province, I'd make up my damn mind about something. Just make your mind up, Steve. Come up with something. Stop kicking the pail down the road, kicking that rock down the road. You can't make a decision. You're going to whine around and wait. Stop waiting. Make some decisions. Just because you get some bad press, you know what? Not every bit of press is going to be as good as Stay the Blazes Home. Sorry. And if it hurts your feelings to get bad press, Steve, well, you're in the wrong industry. Doesn't work that way. When you're in a leadership role, you have to make decisions that are unpopular. That sucks. Sometimes my staff doesn't like my decisions. They go, you know what? I don't like that. Stupid. I go, well, I understand, but since I take all the risk, I make the decision. And if you don't like it, I get it and I respect it. I'll listen to a bunch of opinions, but in the end of the day, I have to make that decision. And when I make a decision, I go with it. And if it turns out to be wrong, then we change it later. And I know, Steve, there's a lot of things here for you. You got to make sure that you make a right decision here. I get that because people's lives are at risk. Nobody's lives are at risk when they're working out, probably. I mean, I've never killed anybody. So, my decisions are not as big as yours. In fact, they're kind of wishy-washy nobody decisions. But Steve, I still make them. You need to make them, Steve. You've had almost 70 days. It's time. Decide, figure it out. Whatever you're going to do, do it. Come on, dude. Get to the point. It's time to get to the point. Make a decision, stick with the decision. Every other province has done it. Copy one of them. Do something, Steve. Just do something. Don't just half-ass it around and wait and every day go, well, there's been another case and the state of the blaze is home. That's not leadership, dude. And you know what? If that's what you think leadership is, you need to step down. You need to let somebody else run the province. Have yourself a good day, guys. Devin out.